We are thrilled to have such an esteemed group of over 100 educators and thought leaders from about 70 leading schools and institutes here in our very own campus. We take great pride in welcoming all of you to the heart of India, to the heart of Mumbai, on our campus, Atlas Skilltech University. Our humble gratitude to each one of you for coming from every corner of India and spending the day with us here today. I'm Siobhan Pimenta. I'm a third-year strategic design management student at Atlas Skilltech University, and I'm delighted to be your host today. As we gather here today to discuss a very important theme of study in India, I have a very clear moment of the day that I had to make a crucial decision about pursuing my undergraduate studies. It marked a significant crossroads in my life that was filled with uncertainty and even excitement about the future. And I'd like to share my journey and the leap of faith that I have taken and the decision to continue over here. One of my primary concerns was whether I would have the flexibility to explore various fields of study and even at the same time gain a global perspective while studying over here. And in my 3 years of being here in Mumbai, I've had the opportunity to discover different design styles, build my USP, grow as an individual, even give guest lectures to other leading institutes, and work on highly qualified faculty from the industry, pursue internships during the breaks, work on real-world projects, and it has been absolutely invaluable to my growth as a designer. Now, even more importantly, I have had the liberty of not being constrained to just design. With our other schools on campus, I've had the opportunity to study stock markets, investing as well as derivatives, pursue private equity research, even learn about the business of F&B ventures. And whether it was just this or even the extracurriculars on campus, I've been able to explore all of these diverse ideas with absolute freedom. So, as we know, India's tagline is unity in diversity. I was recently in Netherlands earlier this year for a global immersion consulting project where we were, of course, exposed to a bunch of other countries. But that reminded me that coming back home, the diversity that we have within our states is just as colorful and valuable. And at Atlas, one of our great points is that I've had the privilege of studying with people from almost every state and the insights that they come with. So these have expanded my views significantly over the course of my study, and it's not just helpful as a designer, but even as someone who would either enter entrepreneurship or a job later. I am very grateful for the opportunities given over here while in the comfort of my home state, the ability to run home when I was homesick whenever, and very, very passionate about the theme of our discussion today. So therefore, on behalf of all the students here at Atlas and the student community of the country at large, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your guidance, your support, your expertise, leading us to reach our destinations, to learn without constraints, and to uplift the education and its curriculum within India. We couldn't be happier to experience the best of the world while being in our very own nation. So, moving on, it is now my humble privilege to introduce the legend, our Honorable Chancellor and President, Dr. Indu Shani ma'am, for the opening plenary address. The founder, a round of applause, please. The founder of our university and the person behind the vision to create leaders of the future, she has been a constant source of inspiration. She has always told us that above everything, we must become responsible leaders with a heart, integrity, and ethics, all with excellence. She has also been the principal of HR College of Commerce and Economics, one of the leading commerce colleges in India for nearly 2 decades. Ma'am has also been the Sheriff of Mumbai and the member of the UGC, University Grants Commission. She brought IB to India as the first Indian to be appointed Vice Chair on the Board of Governors to the International Baccalaureate. Ma'am has also been the pioneer of building Industry Academia Connect as an independent director on the board of Colgate Diageo, HSBC, Bajaj Electricals, Clariant, Eureka Forbes Limited, and many other global organizations. We students consider her to be the Iron Lady of higher education in India. Allow me to invite Dr. Shani ma'am. May we please request you for a few words?
Thank you so much, and a very, very good morning, and a warm welcome to all of you. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Bulbul, for inviting me this morning. I'm so excited to have about over 80 of you, and from over 20 cities. My gosh, this is amazing. And, you know, I have been privy to some of the videos that I was sent of last night. And so I'm just going to say that there is this beautiful song which says, "Jab raat thi itni matwali, to subha ka alam kya hoga," right? So please be ready that if you've had such a good, lovely evening, today here, you're going to have even a more lively interaction with the faculty, with the students, with everyone, and I'm sure you're going to be able to get the vibe of this university. So just to very quickly, I hope everybody is able to see me. Some of you are not. Could we just turn this table over here, please? Can we have some of because I think these two tables are not able to see us. So if they can be turned this side, brought here. You know, they're just behind that pillar. They won't be able to see anyone. Let's just start. If you don't mind, while this is happening, I can keep talking to you. No, so just move it this way. That's it. Just move it quickly. So just to say that it's really wonderful. I met some of the parents and students coming inside just now from for the student work that is being seen. And they said that, I said, "Are your children doing well? Are you happy with the school work that the students have done?" And all of them said, "Oh, the student work is very good, and they're studying well." But all parents said, "But they are very happy, and they want to go to bed." You know, a young girl, when I started this university, asked me, "What's your vision?" And I said, "My vision is that when the child gets up in the morning, should jump out of the bed and want to come to Atlas." And that's been our vision, and I'm so glad that we have been able to fulfill this vision. Also to say that, thank you. Now I think I can see all of you and I can move around. I will still keep moving around so that I can see everyone from here. So I just wanted to say that having had the legacy of ISDI and ISME for over 10 years, we were able to look. We didn't know we'd ever become a university. We were, standalone institutions, two standalone institutions. And I must give you a little history about how the design school started. I chair the K.C. Mahendra. I have the privilege of chairing the K.C. Mahendra Scholarships. And the K.C. Mahendra Scholarships are, you have the 200 best minds in India who come for this scholarship. And what happened was that in between, I would have the pleasure, on my left would be Keshav Mahendra ji, on my right would be Anand Mahendra. I was then with HR College, and this would happen in July, in the month of July, always 2 days in the month of July. And you know, I would keep getting calls from HR College, admissions were going on and pressures were building and so on. And I said to him, Keshav Mahendra ji told me once, कि BCom को नौकरियाँ कौन सी मिलती है? And I said, that's a fact. So I turned my college into a CA factory, and I said, chartered accountancy is what that people will get jobs. But I just asked him one day, I said, sir, आप बताइए, if we have to start a new institution, what should it be? Keshav Mahendra. Keshav Mahendra said, of course, there is no other institution but engineering. All right? That's when Anand Mahendra thumped on the table and said, not engineering, design. Design should go ahead. And entrepreneurship. Design, management, entrepreneurship. And of course, technical colleges has to be a part of all these three. So I said, look, I'm not going to disappoint both of you. We will work towards both. And today, I'm very happy to say we've got all the three things that they talked about. And I keep telling Anand that you only started an engineering school in Hyderabad. Look at us, we went ahead and we've done better than you. We've started design, we've started engineering, and we've started the School of Management. So I just want to say that we are fortunate, thank you. We are fortunate, but again, a small little history. During the pandemic, the government of Maharashtra Skills, Employment and Entrepreneurship Department rang me up. And they said, you're doing a wonderful job with your schools. Can you help us? We want to set up a public skills university, public skills university. We said, sure. Hina ma'am here, our Pro Vice Chancellor, our Vice Chancellor, and Bulbul and Meena Krishna, the ladies behind this school, all of them helped us out, and they wrote a very strong DPR, it's called, the Detailed Project Report, and it was sent to the government. We were only being good and trying to do a favor to the government that yes, it is time for skills and let them start a skills university. India needs 1,000 more universities, so many more, nothing like competition, there is only collaboration. So let's start, and if we've got this, we've been able to experience it, let's share it. 2 IAS lady officers were in charge. She was the chief secretary, Sujata Sonik. She rang me up after she saw the DPR. मुझे तो लगता है कि इतना बढ़िया DPR बना है, गवर्नमेंट पता नहीं कभी यूनिवर्सिटी शुरू करेगी, आप एक प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी का DPR भेज दीजिए. That's how the private university DPR was sent to them. This is the first time, I don't know, councillors, if you know, that universities are created by the Department of Higher and Technical Education in every state. Your Ashokas and all those are created by the University of Higher and Technical Department, which is still running on 19th century principles in the 20th century and 21st century. The skills department, and give it back again to women power and the lady IAS officer, she said, धमाके से आप एक बढ़िया सा बनाओ, write your own act. Can you imagine any university being asked to write their own act? Sir sitting here was helping us. Everybody sat together, pandemic, severe pandemic, and we write the act. And we send the act, we send the DPR, and we get a response from them that we are going to do everything virtual. Never before can universities be created virtually. And then they started the virtual process, and by the time we were in 2021, June 2021, in June 21, they said, now we are ready. Now our inspection committee will come and see your premises. Where were the premises? Where were the premises? Right? So, because we have, they say a teacher affects eternity. You never know where the influence stops. And students everywhere, student working with this block, gives me a call and says, ये SR की building खाली हो रही है. So I said, very good. In 10 days, the the team was going to be coming to see our inspection. We have no building in hand. And another exception they made for us. They said 20 acres land. We said 20 acres land we only can do outside of Mumbai. And if I'm starting a school of technology, design, management, it has to be a campus within corporates. How can we keep our corporates away? Our students are here to walk into those corporates. And so I went to the minister. I said, sir, एक ही question है, सवाल है. He said, हाँ पूछिए. I said, sir, 33 million gods है इंडिया में. आप मुझे बताइए किस गॉड को मैं प्रे करूं जो मुझे बम्बई के बीच में 20 एकड़ लैंड दे देंगे. He said, मैं समझला. काय पाहिजे? So I said, 30 years lease in a urban university. If America can have NYU, if LSE can be in the middle of the cities and countries, why can't India have urban university, urban structures, vertical universities? Why can't we do it? And we wanted this. This even has a turf attached to it. It has so many facilities attached to it. And they told us SR is going. Both the SR boys were my students. I said, are you all really going? Saying, yes, we are going. And then these wonderful ladies sitting over here sat on the bench down there and read Hanuman Chalisa 108 times. एक के बाद एक floor खाली होता रहा. Or July, what date was it when we got 5th July, the government of Maharashtra in its assembly passed the university as being India's first skill tech university, but the first university in Maharashtra, skills, entrepreneurship, employment, and the first university not started by industrialists, not started by promoters who are politicians, but started by teachers. And they are here. They are started by these teachers. They are the promoters. You can see our act. Our P&L is open to anyone to come and see. Self-sustainability. We pay rent, we collect fees, everything is any parent can come and see our P&L. And this is where the difference is. It's a university run by the students, run by the teachers, and I think a very unique university. But we are fortunate that today, that was 2021, today it's 2023. How many students we have, sir? 4,500 students. I think this is definitely the 33 million gods all worked together. But just to say, it's not just that, but it's also, I think there was time for, I used to always strongly believe and say, if the Prime Minister is talking about Make in India, if the Prime Minister is talking about Skill India, if the Prime Minister is talking about Digital India, then why not study in India? It's time for us to create universities that our students want to come here and study with us. I'm sure it's our Indian faculty who are running universities in the US, who are running universities in the UK. You look at all the deans. Why can't we create that here? We've got the talent with us. We look at our faculty. I mean, I just went down to the second floor today to see some student work, and they're teaching the love of research through a gaming of snakes and ladders. I said, why didn't anybody tell me? मेरी PhD करते तो जान निकल गई थी. Somebody had taught me how exciting research is. I would have kept doing this. So with this, I would just say a warm welcome to you. This is your university, your children, and she talked about the diversity. Nowhere else is the multiple teaching that goes on. 1 day a week. Counselors, if you're again in Mumbai, come to us on Wednesdays. Why? This is to all of you who are in Mumbai also. Come to us on Wednesdays. Wednesdays, we run 44 electives, from learning Spanish to learning stock markets to learning design, all across the 3 schools. Exactly what the National Education Policy talks about, that they want interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. You have people from the from the real world, corporate world, coming and also teaching. That's how the university should be. I think a dream come true for some of us who gave our lives away to colleges where, as I said, 19th century curriculum was taught by the 20th century faculty to the 21st century. Today it's reverse. It's my 21st century students. You saw Siobhan. 21st century students who come back to us, tell us what needs to be done. Hina ma'am will tell you how our finance course, or even Omkar sitting behind here will tell you how our entrepreneurship course or our psychology course, how is it being actually fine-tuned by students. Don't underestimate Gen Z. They are amazing. They're just amazing. All right? They're not just digital, but they're amazing. So counselors, this is a very humble history. And thank you for all your support. We couldn't have reached here without your support, without your wonderful students. And now the most exciting part is, now we've got a hostel facility, living facility. And oh my gosh, that place vibes. You're going to go there. You're going there, that place really vibes. You know, when I get some of these circulars, which our Honorable Vice Chancellor sometimes sends to me, and then I say, "Arey, government, UGC ka ye circular kya hai?" I'll just leave it there. I go to the canteen, sit with my students, and I'll live my life again. Otherwise, I would have been absolutely down. But then Sir handles all of this, and that you can see that some of us am not great, but sir, it's only the color, don't worry. All right, so with this, I would just say a warm, warm welcome to all of you. I didn't want to make a presentation. I wanted to really speak out our heart to say what is the genesis of this university. There's just 3 little things that I want to show you, just one minute. One is, yesterday, we had a beautiful, there were 40 men and women, very senior, doctors, IS officers, there were the chief, army chief, all of them, they have a group of they are a group of singers. And they said they wanted to come here. They wanted to hear our children, and then they also wanted to sing themselves. Our students were very smart. When they saw the group of singers who are coming in, one of them was the founder of HCL, Hindustan Computer Limited. Before anything in computers came up, HCL was the lead in India. Founder and Padma Bhushan. And he's a singer. And then we said, why are we not taking this opportunity to get 2 words from him? What does he want to say about our school? He had just taken a campus tour and come. I want you to see what he has said, just for a minute.
Different talents, and there's so much stuff there's going around. So I would say the core, which is making the foundation of this institute, which is made up of multiple schools.
areas of focus at Atlas are technology, design, and entrepreneurship. And actually, there is one specific book that covers these aspects very beautifully. This book is titled Just Aspire. And we have a very special surprise for you. We have with us the author of that book, Mr. Ajay Chaudhary. Can we please have a huge round of applause for him? So, Mr. Ajay Chaudhary is popularly known as the co-founder of HCL and also the recipient of the Padma Bhushan. Sir, it would be an honor for us if you could inaugurate your book. Just a small surprise from our side. Inaugurate the book for all of us over here.
Sure, very happy to.
And requesting you to please stay on stage, sir. You know, it is such an honor to even have you standing over here in front of us because of how accomplished you are and how much we have to learn from you. So could we please request you to say just a few words for our audience over here? We would be very grateful.
Sure. It's really a pleasure to be here today, and this was a huge surprise. Thank you. And basically, you know, during COVID, I was in Goa and spent a lot of time there. I used to spend time with my grandchildren. I used to tuck them into bed and tell them stories. Sometimes real stories, sometimes made-up stories. So one day, my grandson said, the elder one, he says, "You've been telling us so many stories. Why don't you tell some stories from your life?" So I started on doing that. And as I started doing that, I suddenly thought, why don't I tell these stories for everyone? And that's how the book came around. So, you know, when I was creating HCL, the things that basically I learned much later was something that my guru, Dr. C.K. Prahalad, taught me. And that was A is greater than R. So if you have the aspiration, resources will happen. So that's really what it's all about. HCL was created around that theory, that we didn't have any resources, but we created a $12 billion corporation, starting with just 1.86 lakhs. So that's how the whole story is about. This book describes my story from school to college to my life, and then, interestingly, my second innings, which I absolutely love, because my second innings was creating institutions like this. So, of course, this is a very unique institution, because the heart of this institution, to my mind, is design. And that's a subject I absolutely love, because that's something that I'm very much promoting through my foundation called EPIC. And my whole objective of creating this foundation is to promote the whole idea of making India a hardware product nation. And that can't happen without design. So that's how the whole thing is all about. And one more thing that I want to add is that I created, I was the chairman of IIT Hyderabad, and I sort of started it from scratch. And they didn't have any building, nothing. And when we were creating it, one of the things I told the director is that I do not want nerds coming out of this institute. I want people who are well-rounded. And that's what I see in this university. We've got so much happening here that, you know, everybody will learn so many things. And, you know, in IIT Hyderabad, we created 36 fractals. And these were little courses that we wanted people to learn, because I seriously believe that you have to have a range in life. You can't just be knowing one thing. It's always good to have a range and depth in one thing. So that's what I want to leave you with. Enjoy the afternoon, and we're looking forward to hearing some great music.
Thank you so much, sir. Requesting you to stay on stage.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful. This happened on this stage itself yesterday in the afternoon. And as you can see, he has actually given us now confidence that we are on the right track and that this university is doing things differently. One last thing, one more thing is, I'd been to the US and I'd been to Harvard, and Dr. Shrikant Datar, who is the head of the Harvard Business School, I thought it would be nice if he could give a message to Atlas. So I wanted you all to just listen to what did he say about Atlas.
Great pleasure for me to say a few words to all of you on this occasion of a start of an amazing journey, a new university, particularly one rooted in human-centeredness and design and empathy and understanding. I think when you study material like this, the opportunity it creates to make a difference in the world, to change the world is huge. We have to continue to stay humble, learn from others, have this great desire to work hard, because changing the world is not easy, but it's a beautiful opportunity for you to make a massive difference. And those of us who have been given such privileges and responsibilities as you have with this education, it's our duty to help improve the societies in which we live and work. So I wish you all the very best, and I hope you are as inspired by this journey of learning and this journey of connecting and this journey of understanding as I know all the teachers in this institution and others feel. So good luck with everything. I wish you all the very, very best in all that I know you will do to leave the world in a better place than you found it. Thank you.
So I think this is the testimony that we got from the Harvard Business School dean. When I was in New York and I was taking a taxi before I was going to Boston, and the taxi driver, he was not an Indian, he was not a Pakistani, he was probably from Latin America. He turns around and he tells me, yellow cab, okay, yellow cab. And he turns around and tells me, are you an Indian? And I got a bit scared that if I had done something wrong or what is happening. And then I said, very quietly, why, what's happened? And then he tells me, you Indians are ruling the world. So I said, why? He said, look at Microsoft, Google, everywhere. And now you're also in the World Bank. The taxi driver telling me this. And you're ruling it. So I felt so good about it. And he said, now you've lent your prime minister to UK. And I said, wow, that taxi driver knows it. So when I got off the taxi, you know the New York traffic. I stopped that traffic and I said, look, I have to take this video just to say, give a message to my students and to my people here in India. They should feel great and know how great India is and that India has arrived. So let's look at the taxi driver. Okay, let's go. That's
Hello,
him.
Guys. Just shouting you out to all the Indians that are running the world now. Hello, don't forget the cab drivers in New York.
So that's it. That's what it is. Thank you so much. I would just say that if it's time for India, it's time for us in education also to study in India. Thank you so much for being here, and such a pleasure too.
Thank you, Dr. Shani. Ma'am is truly one of a kind, and that was a very lovely display of all the words that we've had in our story. So now it is my honor to invite our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajan Velukar, sir, to deliver the keynote address for this day. Sir has 4 decades of experience in Indian higher education system as a teacher, development leader, quality innovator, technology adopter, administrator, and policy advisor. the modern-day architect of public universities in Maharashtra. He has been the Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University and Yashwantrao Chavan Mumbai Open University. Dr. Velukar has also been the Deputy Secretary to the Governor of Maharashtra and Officer on Special Duty, Higher and Technical Education Department, Government of Maharashtra. More recently, he has been an advisor for the National Education Policy, NEP, to the Ministry of Indian Higher Education. We request you, sir, to share your wisdom with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am sure you must have got an idea about the New Age University which has been established during COVID. And I must tell you, and it is a great service to the nation by establishing a New Age University from which other universities are going to learn. The topic of today on which you are going to deliberate, this is an example which Indian government and India should learn from and establish many more institutions. In a lighter vein, why we have organized this on Saturday, you know? Because it is a Hanuman's day. So if India has to reverse the migration or the enrollment of Asian countries to the Western world, then we need to put some efforts in creating this kind of institute in our nation. And that is the purpose, study in India. You know, there are 50,000 institutions of higher learning in India. And still we have been able to provide access of only 28%. You can imagine when 100 students are taking admission in primary school, only 28 are reaching to higher education. And now by 2035, we have to reach out to around 50% enrollment. So when 100 students are taking admission in primary school, at least 50% should reach in another 10-15 years to higher education. And then you can imagine what kind of work in terms of number you all will have. We are also trying to help some of the institutions to be established in the entire country, learning from the institutions like us. What is missing? Earlier we were talking about brain drain, then we started, I remember in 2004 and 5, we started talking about brain gain and some effect of that, and now it has been accelerated. Why India? Why study in India? There is one word, pride. We all must have pride. That is where we are missing. I give you an example. I was in Washington and we had a meeting there of some of the vice chancellors, the minister and Bill Clinton's wife also was there in that program. And I was in one of the panel. National Law School Vice Chancellor was there. Then one of the director of IIM was there from Indian side and 3 from American side. Harvard University, Boston University president, they call it president there. And then around 1,000 people were sitting there because that was Barack Obama Obama Manmohan Singh treaty we signed there, and many Indians were sitting there, and everybody had said, IIM said we are doing excellent, National Law School said we are doing excellent, and American universities, of course, they have to sell their university, so they have said all, and then a lot of clapping happened in the auditorium, and then finally they gave me an opportunity, and then I spoke for 2-3 minutes, and then one Indian, you know, when we go there, we feel they are better than India, okay? But we have to make our own India, and that is why I am coming to why India, why study in India, how India is changing, and how we can play a role in that. Then one Indian stood up and then said, that time I was Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai. He asked a question and he said, why University of Mumbai and Indian universities are not doing good? He is Indian, he should respect Indian universities. I asked him which university you studied in. Then he told me, I studied in one of the university in India. Then I asked him how many people, how many Indians are working in NASA? Then he told 33%. I said, if all Indian universities are not good, why NASA should appoint 33% Indians in NASA? And I gave examples like this. And I told them, I take only $10 fees for 1 year. And Harvard doesn't take $10 per year from one student. And then I gave the financials. Harvard University's budget that time was around 25,000 crores of rupees. And University of Mumbai's budget was 500. Harvard University, 22,000 students. I had 700,000 students. I said, if you compare this, within whatever available we have, we are doing much, much great work. The moment you have the word pride with you, then you will be able to transform. And I'm sure the kind of people like Indu, Siddharth, and our teachers are coming forward to establish institutions like this. And if we have, I see more left brains in the hall, auditorium. And we need left brains in education, more left brains in education. Of course, we also should have the right brains, because now we are talking about compassionate systems framework in education. And if this compassionate systems framework has created, of course this compassion we have in our ancient days also, if you just go back and then see, how do we revive that? And how do we stop our own students by giving them best of the best holistic education? Best of the best. I was with the IBM scientist in one of the conference in Canada, and he delivered a speech that how around 2017, and he said we are working on brain and we are trying to use AI and we are bringing that into our IBM machines. And a scientist from Israel, and you know how Israeli are, they are so intelligent. And then we were talking, and then he gave the presentation, and then he was talking, this is a new thing which we are doing in our IBM. Then I told him, हमारे philosophy में हम 3 चीज़ के बारे में बात करते हैं, ज्ञान, अज्ञान. Western world talks of Gyan and Agyan. But in our philosophy, we talk about the third thing also, that is Gyan, Agyan and Aggeya. Not knowable. हो रहा है, लेकिन पता नहीं है. And exactly IBM was working on this, the third one. And then we had a great chat. And therefore, we are doing wonderfully well. First, believe yourself, believe your own country, and then you will see the difference. And then you will be able to convince them to study in India. Of course, cost is there. Why all foreign universities are coming to us? You know, we should learn from everybody. As in our Sanskrit, we say, "Ano bhadraha kratavo yantu vishwata." We should believe that. Let the noble thoughts comes from all over. And we believe in that. And therefore, your role is the most important. And therefore, when I was sitting there, I was writing for you. And we have wonderful people. I met one just 5 days before, Shreyank Daga. He has a company. He's just 21 years old, and he has 150 employees under him. And he is teaching 20,000 students. When I asked him about his dream, he said, "I want to reach to 100 crores. This kind of young people are there in our country. And you know, wonderful person. His mother asked him, in 7th he got 71% marks. His mother asked, "Ye nahi chalega. Either you should get more than 90% or you fail. What do you prefer?" He said, "I want to fail." And he failed in 10th standard. But he started a business when he was in 8th standard. And now he isn't. So we have this kind of kids. We have seen she has comparing the program so well. And you are especially important. I have a lot of data about study in India, but I am not going to you or dealing with this. I was just writing. You are something special. You are totally multi and transdisciplinary persons, which the new education policy is talking. You are scanner. You are scanning these young people when they come to you. X-ray also. You do X-ray also of them. You do MRI of some students. So all qualities are there in you without technology. Then you are psychologist also, and you are pharma scientist. कौन सी पिल देना है वो बच्चे को आपको पता है ना? और आप जनरल प्रैक्टिशनर भी है, स्पेशलाइज नहीं है लेकिन जनरल प्रैक्टिशनर है कि भाई ये ठीक है, आप एटलस स्किलटेक यूनिवर्सिटी में जाओ, ये आप अशोका में जाओ, आप यहाँ जाओ, वहाँ जाओ. So you are all in one. You are helping to choose them their career. In 21st century, the word empower has been used the most. And we need to empower them. That is what education is. You empower them and then they will learn. All of you are doing this job in India. I am sure you will be able to achieve. And we have another around 3 crore young people are going to come in 10 years to higher education. And India is the destination for learning in coming future. So believe in India, and therefore your first preference should be help students, guide them to go to best of the best institution in our own country. And then for PhDs and everything, they can go across the globe because we are one. Vinoba Bhave, I don't know whether you have heard his name. You must have. Vinoba Bhave used to say, Jai Jagat, Jai Jagat, Jai Jagat Pukare Ja. So he was talking about the entire world. And I am sure we will be able to do that. I have full faith in all of you, those who have come, and I welcome to this university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Velukar, for those very optimistic stats of being in India. And I must admit that there has been no instance in my life as a student growing up that has made me more proud to be an Indian than actually being here, where we prioritize excellence from within. And another quote that I've actually repeated a bunch of times over here is by Friedrich Nietzsche, which is, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." And I think more than anybody else, we're the ones who have the strongest why. I would now like to invite one of our founding leaders of the university, our dearest Pro Vice Chancellor, Bulbul Chaudhary ma'am. While she needs no introduction, please allow me to introduce her. A rank holder and university grant recipient from Delhi University and gold medalist at NIFT, Ms. Bulbul Chaudhary comes with nearly 2 decades of vast experience and empowering the vision of world-class higher education in India. More importantly, ma'am has played an instrumental role in advancing counseling for students, for which she has also been recognized by IC3 and received the Counseling-Based Approach to Student Recruitment and Admissions Award. Please welcome to the stage Bulbul ma'am.
Sorry, not to rain on your parade, Bulbul, but just before we have her, and it's going to be her and only her now, I would like to thank Dr. Shani and Dr. Velukar for being with us today. They have a lot of institution building to be done, apparently. So I will request you to please give them a huge round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for being with us today.
And Hina, ma'am.
And Hina, ma'am, you haven't met her as yet, but she's also our Pro Vice Chancellor, and she was one of the people who read the Hanuman Chalisa about 108 times. So yes, thank you.
Thank you. I'll take this from you in a bit. So, it's morning still, so good morning yet again. I feel like saying it's almost as if night never ended, actually. So, well, because I asked someone what time did the party end, and I was told it ended at 2, so technically good morning started much earlier for many of us. Lovely to have you back again, and the conference is on Study in India. My section, which is the last of the 3 sections today before we break into the workshops, is largely about the university. You already know about how we started, and I'm going to really tell you a little bit more about the university itself. But before that, while I was sitting over there, and I thought this is a Study in India conference, I want to start. I'm a teacher, and for now, I couldn't have asked for more because there are so many students willingly in the class, right? Janvi? Yeah? All right, so we're going to do a very small exercise, okay? And all of you have a notebook right in front of you. You have a pen as well. So we will do a little bit of maths. Yeah, I mean, we're all failing? Okay, no, I'm going to make it a lot easier. And this is something that very recently at Sanskar Valley School, Khushbu asked to do a session on why India and why you count, why each of us sitting here counts. Very often, we tend to think in a country of 1.4 billion, I'm just a number, right? So I'm going to ask this, and you can raise your hands if you have an answer. And do we have prizes if they get the answer right? Maybe we will, okay? We will get you a chocolate, if that's okay, all right? Name a scholarship. All right, okay. Provided you come back and study, but then I'm going to ask you on the side what's your age, because the maximum age limit for the university is 21. Yes? Oh, they're heavily reported on. So what is the population of the country? What is the population of India? In billions?
Millions, billions, I don't know. Actually, 140 crore.
So 1.4 billion. Yeah, it's already 1.6, is it? All right. 1.5? Just reached 1.5. Yeah, it's never been so fast, right? I mean, in my life, I've seen from 1 to 1.2, 3, 4, 5. Explosion. Okay, fair enough. So can we just convert this into millions? Okay. All right. Can we convert this into millions? Okay, I'll make this easy. 1,000 millions is a billion. Okay? So if you write 14,000, 000, just write this for yourselves. Maths, long time, no? 3 zeros, million is the population of the country. Suddenly doesn't seem like too much, right? 3 zeros, million. Omkar is the data guy. And my data is a little old. It is when the population was 1.4 billion. I'm told it's 1.5. So can I live with 1.4 for now, sir? All right. Well, for any country to do well, for it to be an economic superpower, it must be economically strong. That much we know, right? We are the 5th largest economy, slated to be the 3rd largest economy. And it only happens when the country generates wealth. You agree, everyone? Okay. Now, of this 1.4 billion or 14,000 million people in this country, how many, in your opinion, contribute to the economy? Which means they are not under 16 years of age and not over 65 years of age. Technically, after 65, you're called a senior citizen, and under 14, it's, you're not expected to work. In Maharashtra, all across the country, senior citizens start at 60. In Maharashtra, for some reason, it's 65, but irrespective. So how many of them, what percentage of this 14,000 million are either under 16 years of age or over 65 years of age? Just put a percentage. Anyone wants to make a guess? Is my question clear? 33%? 60%? 30%, 60%, 30 and 60 are the favorites. Okay, 40%, 42 more than 60. Okay, so from what I've read last, roughly 50% of our country is unemployable, which means either they're very old to work or they're still very young. So just make an arrow and remove 50% and make it 7,000 million. 7, triple zeros, and just write million. I'm actually seeing people look at each other's notes. It's quite simple, actually. 7, 000 million. Okay? So far, so good? Okay. Now, what does this India do? So these are people who are in the age band largely of 17 to 64. Okay? What percentage of this population is in what I call informal sector? So when I say informal sector, they are not tax contributors. When I say they're not tax contributors, which means they make a living for themselves and for their immediate family, but they clearly do not surface, they don't fill their Form 16 and TDS, which is important because that money is what we require to build our roads and airports and everything else and get electricity. So what percentage or what number of the 7,000 million people are taxpayers? Let me reverse the question. 30%. So of the 7,000 people, 30% are taxpayers. That's about over 1,000, okay? Is my question clear? Okay. So make an arrow, and we go further down and write 24 million. 24 million Indians pay taxes. So are you seeing what's happening? So from 7,000 million, we come down to 24 million. What are the others doing? They are selling vada pav, they're repairing your umbrella, bicycle, run a small setup, sell vegetables, innumerable things which are important to the country, right? Having said so, are they contributing to the economy? No, they take care of themselves, their families, their children, they make sure they get, and they of course get a lot of subsidies from the government, all of that is great. But this 24,000 million is running your country. All of you, by the way, are part of that 24 million. Out of this 24 million, make another arrow and write down, okay, what out of this 24 million is actually utilizing the wealth, which means they're not directly contributing to the economy, they're actually running the country. So they are your civil servants, they are your Indian Army, they are your postal services, they are your railway services, which are not meant to make profits for the country. You don't have the Indian Army because they have to make profit for the country. You need them because they need to fight your frontiers. They'll actually utilize your wealth in buying the weapons, artilleries, uniform, whatever else. But you need them, right? You can't say, hey, listen, too expensive, I don't need an army, right? Not yet. We still haven't gotten there. So what of this 24 million people are doing government jobs, postal jobs, railways, defense services, administrative jobs, running the country and administrative services? 14 million. Okay? They are doing all of this, running the country. It leaves us with 10 million of us who run the country. 10 million in a country of 14,000 million. Now let's do the maths, okay? Omkar, I'm going to request you, 10 million of 14,000 million is how much as a percentage? 0.0001% is the number of people who contribute to the country's economy. Now, let's see how fair or unfair it is. All of you have an immediate family, a family of 3, 4. These days it's 3 or 4, I think. Now do the maths. How many of you are generating wealth for your country, for your home? So let's say you have 2 earning members with 3 family members. That's about 66% of you generate wealth for your country. If there are 2 working members in a family of 4, 50% of you. What's the percentage for you, Shraddha? Sorry if I may. 50% of the family. Okay, so 50% for you. For me, yeah, about similar. 50%, that means 50% of the family generates wealth for the family. That's fair. Even 33% is fair. But how fair is 0.0001%? It's a little unfair in a country where we need all these point zeros to be removed. We at least need 1% of the country to be generating wealth to run this country. And even so, we survive, right? I mean, there's never enough wealth, right? We always say, oh, I wish I had a little more wealth coming into the family. I wish there was a little more income coming into the family, etc. Well, the country definitely needs all of that. So we need Indian resources to a large extent to remain here. We need universities like this. We need to create employment here. We need to create entrepreneurship here for this country to become the 3 trillion, 5 trillion economy that we aspire for it to be. And I think to that extent, I do think we must take, first of all, clap for ourselves because we are those contributors. We are that 10 million that is contributing to the company, to the country. And we are the 10 million that will create another 10 million that will contribute to the country, provided we have faith that we are the nation builders that we are meant to be. And I think when I look at these figures, somehow the responsibility on each of us is far more than we ever thought. Would you agree? Yeah? So please give yourselves another round of applause. This is for yourself and people you impact. Coming back to the university, I must first admit that we are running late. And someone should keep us on track as far as the time is concerned. Abhinav is probably the right person. But I'm going to run over the presentation fairly quickly. And if there are questions, you can interrupt me and I'll address them at that point. Is that okay? All right. You got the cursor? Okay, thank you. So we are in Atlas, and I often start by asking, which is the pointer? This one. Which one? Sorry. Okay, this one. Wait, that doesn't seem to work. Okay, so I often start by asking, just 1 second. Can I just go back to the previous slide? You help me with that. All right, I'll try to get the first slide. So Atlas itself is an acronym, ATLAS, and it stands for, anyone wants to, internal members can't participate, so Omkar, you can't participate, all right? Okay. What do you think it stands for? Okay. Any guesses? So A for arts, T for technology, L and A together for liberal arts, and S for sciences. Okay, so that's really the university. And as Dr. Shahani said this earlier, the whole purpose is to create designers with a heart, technologists with a heart, and entrepreneurs with a heart. Many of you know us for the design school. The purpose of my presentation is also to tell you about the other schools that we have. Dr. Shahani earlier spoke about ISDI. ISDI has completed 10 years. So in a manner of speaking, the design school or even the business school together are older than the university itself, which is 2 years old. So we started in 2013 with our design school in partnership with Parsons. Parents and students often ask, what does this relationship really even mean? In fact, Sudarshana, you asked me while at IC3, is this collaboration on, right? Because, so to address that, we started ISDI in the year 2013, and what we brought to India by way of ISDI was the Parsons curriculum. So when I speak to students, quite simply the example I give them is that if a student is studying in Mayo Girls, she, because it's a girls' college, she studies the CBSE curriculum, ICSE curriculum. Okay? Similarly, if a student studies in ISDI, they study the Parsons curriculum. That's the simplest way to explain. So it's not an equivalence, it's not recognition, it's not an accreditation, it is the Parsons curriculum. So the way to explain to students is that just as your school gives you the infrastructure, the facility, the laboratories, the teachers, the wherewithals to offer a CBSE or an ISC or an IB or A-level curriculum or a HSC curriculum, ISDI gives you the wherewithals to offer an international curriculum that comes to us from Parsons. Parsons, as many of you already know it, is the world's amongst the top 5 design schools across the globe and the most highly ranked design school at this point in the US. So ISME is our next school. ISME started in the year 2016 and it is a Babson collaborative member. This is our business school. When we started, ISDI stood for the Indian School of Design and Innovation. ISME stood for the Indian School of Management and Entrepreneurship. But as per the Government of India ruling, the word Indian and national are reserved for government institutions alone. So ISDI today is a standalone name. It does not necessarily stand for the Indian School of Design and Innovation, but that's how it started. ISME is the business school. And most recently, last year, we started our school for technology called UGDX, and as it says, it's a school of digital technology. The duration of the program in each of these schools is 4 years. So a student coming into the design school comes and studies for 4 years. A student so far coming into the business school studies for 3 years. However, one can now extend it to an additional year and make it into a 4 years program. And our technology program is also for a duration of 4 years. On completion of the programs, students are awarded a Bachelor's of Design degree, or more popularly referred to as the BDes degree. On completing the ISME program, a student is awarded a BBA degree. And if they did a 4th year, they get a BBA honors degree. And eventually, in the last school, they get a BTech degree. So far, so good? All right. The programs that we offer within each of these schools, so in the design school, there are 7 specializations. You can see the specializations right in the order of, in alphabetic order. Much of what is on my slide is actually also in the handouts that you have. So animation and VFX, communication design, fashion communication and styling, fashion design, interior design, product design, and a very interesting and an unusual course, which is a combination of design and business called the Strategic Design Management Program. Now, when students come into the design schools, there are 2 types of students. One who has a certain amount of clarity about what specialization they want to do. Mostly fashion students seem to have that clarity, and there are students who may not have the clarity on what specializations they wish to pursue. So in the first of the 4 years in the design school, everyone goes through a common first-year studies program, right, which is a generic year, and it is at the end of the first year that students are expected to make a decision on which track would they like to pursue in year 2, 3, and 4. In our business school, I'm going to talk to you about BBA and not the MBA program. So the BBA program, which is a 3 years program, and if you did a BBA honors, it's a 4 years program, comes with 3 tracks, which is in marketing, finance, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has always been very close to Dr. Shahani's heart. As she has said earlier, if you can make in India, if you can design in India, if you can manufacture in India, why not study in India? In the BTech program, the program is referred to as Computer Science, Artificial Intelligence, and Machine Learning, all clubbed into one cluster. So that's the name of the program. We are predominantly an undergraduate university, which means about 90% of the students in this university are pursuing an undergraduate program. 10%, roughly 10% of the students are doing a program in masters, or come here for the master's program. In the design school, 70% of our students come from cities outside Bombay. At this point in our business school, about 90% students come from Bombay. As a state university, we do have a reservation for people of Bombay, which is Maharashtra actually, about 40%. But given that design school at this point draws more students from outside and the business school draws more students from within Bombay, we get the equation, right? But a significant percentage of seats are still meant for, is open to outside of the state, which is why we get so many applications. So currently we have about 25 states and union territories, about 5 of them. Students from across 282 cities, 1,585 unique schools, and roughly 4,500 students studying the undergraduate program in the university across different years. Next one. Recognition. Now this question comes quite often, and all of you, of course, you are an initiated audience, but even for the purpose of sort of revisiting, we are established under the Maharashtra Act. We are a state private university, just as in Ashoka, Kriya, Plaksha, OP Jindal. Everyone is established under a state private university act, and so are we. We are recognized by the UGC, and we are also a member of the AIU, which means if there are students who are coming from other university schools and have done 12th in other parts of the world, as long as they're listed on the AIU website, we do take students from those schools. We also take students from within the country from the NIOS boards, and of course all the other usual national boards. Next one. This is our advisory board. It is led by none other than Mr. Deepak Parekh. It's a mix of academicians, industrialists, practitioners, and industry leaders. We are supported in a very large way by the UpGrad team, and so you also see Ronnie Screwvala and Mayank there. In fact, when we go across to the hostel is referred to as the UpGrad hostel. So it is run by UpGrad. Next one, please. Okay. Why study in Atlas, and the 10 reasons why, and I'm going to quickly run over those bit by bit. Okay, let's get to the next slide. Okay. I think Mumbai is a remarkable city to study. I wouldn't just say design or business or technology, but just about anything, right? For many of us, many of you, about 39, 40 of you may have lived in Bombay for most parts, because those are the numbers of people who come from Bombay. But for many of us who weren't always here, I wasn't always here, I came much later, I do think Bombay teaches a lot, right? I sometimes wonder what would this university be if not in Bombay. So we use the city itself as a lab, and what it means is not just when we give these students an exposure by getting people of Bombay into the classrooms, but also in taking them out and getting them to really experiment in and around Bombay. So Mumbai itself is, when I ask students what are your top 3 reasons for having chosen Atlas, Mumbai is invariably one of the reasons, especially for students who come from Bangalore and Delhi. So after Bombay, the second largest city from where students come to us is Pune, followed by, this year it was Delhi, NCR, and Bangalore, and Jaipur, in that order, Jaipur meaning Rajasthan. And thank you for that, and thank you everyone for that. I should have actually started by thanking you for the amount of trust you've placed in us, many of you without even having actually visited and seen us, right? So that's a leap of faith for us, and thank you so much. And also for being very kind when much of my team members and I have been visiting you. So please give us the honor of to take care of you, to pamper you, to do whatever it takes to ensure you have a good time. Right now, vada paos. All right, next slide. Perfect, right? And reminds me of that masala lab, the some of us read that book in the IC3, the keynote speaker was, okay. So this is Bombay. We are, and my apologies for people from Bombay, it may be rather repetitive, but in the interest of the others, we are in what you may refer to as the heart of the city. We are in Bandra Kurla complex. Yeah, last night I remember with a faculty from Pathways. So he said, is the dinner not in BKC? Is not in our hotel? Are we going out? I said, yes. He said, that means another 1 hour. Right, so you don't measure distance in kilometers here, but we are very close to the airport. We are about 7 kilometers from the airport, but more importantly, we are very central. This is where there's a terminal station. Kurla is where the, the central train line, the western line, and in some way the harbor line also converge. I think not the western line, but 2 lines converge. So it's access for students is easy. Majority of our students, the day scholars, travel by train. So it's quite accessible, quite easy to get from most parts. Next one. We are right here. This presentation is meant for not necessarily to be played in the campus, but we are right here. We are in Tower 1 of 4 towers that you see around. So when we went into the courtyard in the morning, we were surrounded by the other 3 towers. We've got this entire building belongs to the Leela group of hotels. This is their corporate office. We've got TCS housed in many of the spaces over there. And the other day we were doing an open day with a parent on Zoom, or in person I think, and he asked us, so this entire building is the university. Are you going to expand? And I said, yeah, then next is that one over there, which is the one that we want to acquire. He said, how soon? I said, I don't know, but in the next 2 years. And he looked a little sullen. So I said, is there a reason? He says, yeah, because my office is there in TCS. So that's where we are right now. Next one, please. We were in Bandra Kurla complex earlier today, which is where Trident was, and we are in the midst of media and strategy companies. We are in the midst of, next one, banking and finance. We are in the midst of pretty much all the headquarters of retail in India. We are in the midst of design and technology firms. We're in the midst of real estate firms, and all of what I'm saying, in the midst of all their head offices are right here in Bandra Kurla complex. I think a close comparison to BKC in Delhi is likely to be maybe, I don't know, Kormangla maybe in Bangalore, or Delhi possibly, Cyber City? Yeah, Cyber City possibly, okay. So this is where we are, next one. And a quick slide simulating all the sort of organizations we are. And these are the kind of places students eventually work in, right? Next one. Dr. Shahani spoke about multidisciplinary learning. Between the 3 schools, there is a fair amount of osmosis. Students learn by way of electives. We do not use the word majors and minors here because the electives can change over semesters. So students go through a transdisciplinary learning by way of giving them skills and technology inputs. These are the buckets largely in which our electives largely work. So they are in the space of humanities and arts, entrepreneurship and business, creative industries, technology, behavioral sciences, health and sports, language. So every year students are advised to pick up a language as well, environment and sustainability, society, politics and law. So these are largely the, if you may call it, organs, and sort of the electives are like tissues that connect each of these, and students can decide which of these buckets they want to pick up their electives from. The other way to look at electives is by way of school. So this is a list of schools, electives drawn out by the design school, a list of electives drawn out by the School of Management and Entrepreneurship, a list of electives drawn out by the School of Technology or Digital Technology, and each student, irrespective of which program they're pursuing, can pick up an elective from another school. Each semester, they can pick up a new elective, or they can continue in the same elective and go to a higher level or an advanced level of elective. The elective, of course, I know some of you are taking pictures. It's a dynamic list, and there could be newer electives as well each semester. Faculty, whom you met in a slightly different avatar last night. So there are most of the faculty that you see here will have had a fair amount of industry experience. We are a skill tech university. We are imparting skills. Skills is basically practice, right? And many of you art teachers here will relate with exactly what I'm trying to say. So if you've done it yourself, only then can you impart that skill. right? So if you've been there, done that, which means you've practiced in the industry, then it's of course a lot easier to be able to pass on that ability to your students. So faculty come with, in fact this picture is, we'll probably get to meet Ashutosh little later. Ashutosh is our faculty for VFX and animation, is one of our faculty members, but prior to coming here, he worked for a company called Rhythm and Hues. One of their most popular productions was a movie called Life of Pi. So he can actually tell you about how the movie was made. Much of it was in a swimming pool, actually. So, next one. Inside, outside. So these are some of the pedagogical methods by which we teach here in the school. So far as outside, the students work on capstones, and I'll demonstrate that graphically a little later. We do what is called a rural immersion, where students spend some time in a rural pocket. Design students also do something called the craft cluster, which is craft cluster. They actually go and pick up a craft living in the community. There's a lot of international immersion as well, and opportunities for entrepreneurship. I think so. I wasn't here the day the lady was here, but she is a speaker from Google, and this is one of the conversations which is not so much a pre-placement talk, but really what is it that Google is looking for. So she's here to deliver a master class. And very often, you will find a few speakers on the campus on a daily basis. I remember Teji met me soon after Tim Cook had come, and all her students came and told her that, you know, Tim Cook was on the campus. And Jay Pimpalkare is one of our students from Pune, and of course he had actually done an illustration. So Tim Cook actually spent about 30 minutes on the campus while he had come for the inauguration for the Apple store in BKC. Next one. Yes, and so various speakers from Cisco, HDFC. What I find very interesting is sometimes I've seen these very young industrialists or industry leaders come and speak to the students. And the conversations are very different, right? So I remember we had Anant Goenka, CH Tires, Harsh Goenka's son. And he's quite young, right? He's probably 30 somewhere. And so students said, have you ever been nervous? Now that's not the kind of a question I expected. That he said, yes, I have been. And they asked him, when were you nervous? And he said, that's when I was addressing my first town hall. I wasn't meant to do that, someone else was, but he called sick. So suddenly I was addressing 30,000 people without having practiced. And that made him nervous. And that's just to make you feel that, okay, everyone is so similar in so many ways. So I think these conversations are candid, these conversations are not coming from a sort of sense of hierarchy, and I think that's what makes it very useful for the students. So the list goes on. Most recently, in the last about a week or so, we've had Deloitte on the campus. We've had 6 campus placements, and the final round was conducted on the campus, and 6 students have been selected. A week prior to which, the last corporate to have come was a company called Dr. Reddy's, and they've taken about, I can't remember the number, but a fair number of students for the capstone projects in Hyderabad. I was talking about Anant Goenka earlier today, and of course people from Zepto, or we also have Bajaj Electricals also has instituted a scholarship for some of our students. 4 of them are going through a Bajaj Electrical endowment and a scholarship plan. So some of them also go on to give you industry endowments and scholarships, but these are largely from the classes that happen. So the way to engage with industry is by way of masterclasses, observerships, internships, placements. And if you wonder what observership, internship really refer to, maybe the next slide, which is a graphic representation, might be even more interesting. So over the duration of 4 years, while we are in Bombay, and because we are in Bombay, we ensure that all students get at least 1 industry opportunity each year. So it starts with something as simple as an observership, where you go to the industry to pretty much observe things, to a more sophisticated apprenticeship. This is like a chartered accountancy model where you work as an apprentice under a businessman or a designer or a technology expert. It then goes into an internship, which is an even more sophisticated, well-developed immersion, a capstone, and finally a placement. So you can look at this as stepping stones to getting to your final placement. In certain programs like fashion communication and styling, I've seen students go up to about 10 industry projects. That's because there are a whole lot of freelance opportunities available in Bombay while they study. Shuan will tell you later that while she's in the 3rd year pursuing a strategic design management program, she's also in fact started a company already, right? And you can talk to them about it a little while later. Next slide. Next slide, Abhijit. Yeah, okay. So by where we are sitting right now, and not this stage, but a similar stage that may have been built at that point, we had Piyush Bansal. This was about 2 months back. And I remember we had to actually get rid of that, the wall as well, because there were the largest number of students ever attending a master class by Piyush Bansal. So this and many of the sharks or entrepreneurs or designers often come and speak with the students. Also, the students get a chance to step out of the campus. These have been some of the visits to companies like Colgate, WPP. WPP is right here actually, Ogilvy, Deloitte, 3Ms. This is from the Ogilvy visit. Next one. We prep students for placements. So these are what we call Career Connect. What you see here is either, so this is a company called Yumo. Yumo is the company that's actually designed our, the Atlas logo. She's a graphic designer, communication designer. And you can see the students are sitting across being interviewed for those opportunities. These interviews and these opportunities start as early as 8 months before the students graduate. So the Dr. Reddy's example that I was giving you, or Deloitte, are final placement opportunities for students graduating in 2024. So they will have gotten their final placement opportunity almost 8 months, 9 months before they eventually graduate. Next one. So yeah, these are the most recent placements that have happened in Deloitte that I was talking to you about. Infosys, what was very interesting for me, Infosys has also been to the campus already. They've made their placements already. This is the 4th consecutive year that Infosys has come to us for student final placement. What I really liked about Deloitte was I saw one student who was working for Deloitte, and she went to them last year. She wasn't interviewing, because I was wondering, 1 year in the company is too early to start to interview students. So I asked her, what are you doing here? She said, I've been advised to just sit in the room and watch the interviewer so I can come back and interview next year. So she was learning the art of interviewing under a mentor from the HR department as a designer. At Infosys, the senior students came this year for making selections, so that was very interesting. Next one. These are some of our key employers across the 3 schools. Most of them are the type employers who have come consistently over 3 years. Next one again. Life projects is actually a very interesting project, and if I were to talk about it, I could talk about it all day, but in the interest of time, we have what is called Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika schools. These are roughly 300 schools across Bombay. The challenge, and this example, we illustrate when we go to schools about the power of design and what an individual can do or a group of individuals can do. The challenge they were having was that, as happens in government schools, children did not actually turn up, right? The reason is, A, the quality of education probably. B, there is a huge aspiration, particularly in the city of Bombay, everyone wants to go to an English medium school, right? This was a Marathi medium school. The only motivation for children to go to the school was actually the free meal, right? And by the admissions had dwindled. Students, one of the graphic design group of students were given this capstone to work with the school. They went to the school only to realize there was no one to teach. So they came back, and normally when students come back to the teacher, they would say, can you give us another project, because this project is not happening, this is not viable. Instead, they took upon the challenge of reviving the school. And as the VC said earlier, a sense of pride needs to be built, not just amongst children, but also amongst parents to send their kids back to their school. When there's pride, when our children wear the uniform they wear, when they go to Springdales, they get on the bus, that yellow bus that says Springdale, there's a sense of pride already before you get there. But here, what pride can you instill? And the other person who should tell you about instilling pride in getting to the school is Madhumita ma'am there, because they have, in their school in DPS Sector 45, Gurgaon, after 2 in the afternoon, the school becomes a school for the rest of the community. And you've been demonstrating this for 18, 20 years very successfully. 2,000 students. I'll clap for you. So here what the students did is the first thing they said is we want to change the name from Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika schools because it almost sounds like you're going to the Electricity Board of India. So they changed the name to Mumbai Public School, making it aspirational like Delhi Public School. They changed the logo. I could show you the earlier logo as well. And they changed the merchandise, notebooks. Children take a lot of pride in the new notebooks that we get. The label, the cover that you put over it. So they changed the merchandise, they redesigned their classrooms. Having done all of this, they actually pled with the then Chief Minister of the country, it's not of the state, the picture is not here, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, and actually put a plea to convert them into English medium CBSE taught schools. And I'm happy to inform you that these schools turned into CBSE taught English medium schools with a new logo, new uniform, new merchandise, new classrooms, pretty much a DPS, right? Of course, it's called Mumbai Public School. And Isha will tell you the data and statistics, but for 3,000 seats in the first year, they got 40,000 applications. So that's the power of design, and that's the power of making a difference. So this was really the Mumbai Public School project. Next one. Access to global learning. While all of our students aspire to go and get some kind of an international experience, exposure, which we do by way of exchange programs, but it's also an endeavor to get some of the finest faculty members into the campus. The lady you see here, I'm sorry, I forget her name, but she is lead faculty from the from the Department of Product Design from Royal College of Art, which is today ranked as the world's #1 school for design. So often you will have a lot of visiting, and they don't come for a flying visit, they actually come and spend over 2 weeks with us, work on a project, have a viable result, and it's also interesting for students to see something that eventually from a feeling to an idea becomes a product. Next one. Let's go to the next one. Yes, so this is part of what we did, the International Faculty Week. Is there anyone from JBC and Borivali here? Yes. So your principal met me. She had come for the International Fashion Week, and she said she was so we had, I don't remember the number, maybe about 26 different international faculty members from across the globe, and they did the electives, right, for the university. And the principal told me they were so inspired, they did a similar International Faculty Week at JBCN in Borivali. Was that successful? I'm sure it was. Yeah, okay. And we hosted your teachers also on the campus for a day. Okay, thank you so much for coming. Global immersions, Shwant spoke to you earlier about, of course she went for a shorter 2 weeks, I think, to the Netherlands, to a city called Utrecht, but there are opportunities for exchange programs for students where they can go and spend 6 months to 1 year in a university, which is a partner university. Majority of our exchange programs currently are with European universities. That's predominantly because they really do their exchange programs very well. B, they don't charge for the exchange programs. UK universities still tend to want to charge, but we managed to get some breakthrough in UK as well by way of having exchange opportunities for students which were free of cost. So they go and they spend those 6 months. They can go up to 1 year, but this 1 year should not be the last year, and it's normally not the first year. So in the second year or the third, predominantly in the third year. So this is a project that we do. It's called the Imagining Tomorrow project, where 6 countries come together and 6 challenges are taken up. And so I think I remember she dealt with, when she had gone, the mental asylum. The War Museum, yeah, okay, this is part of the Nazi belt at that point. So a lot of these war museums were being converted for reasons. They're doing a Red Cross project as well. So these are live projects, and students actually quite enjoy this. Next one. International association, okay, partnerships. At one time, majority of these partnerships were drawn out for 2+2 programs, where students could do 2 years in India and the remaining 2 years, but that's really not the prime focus any longer after we become a university. The prime focus is masters and progression to masters and being able to gain full scholarships once students have finished their undergrad program over here. All the universities that you see here, and I have to say, I think we're probably the only Indian university with a partnership with UAL for a master's progression with a 20% scholarship, which is more or less certain. And of course, the nature of agreements are different across different universities. University of Bath is yet another place where I think there are 4 assured scholarships each year for BBA students wanting to go into the MBA program. You see a mix of British universities. TU Delft is, TU Eindhoven is, and TU Delft, I don't see it here, but these are some of the other universities in Europe. Next one. Innovations, the gentleman you see over here, I think he's moved on, but he's Abhimanyu Kulkarni, the Chief Design Officer at Philips. And this is, so one of the things students do while they come to Atlas is, while majority of them will seek a final placement, while a large number would also consider doing a master's abroad, but there's also a fair amount of thrust on filing their own patents or patents, and also research progression. So there's a separate cell for incubating good ideas, and this is part of what you see over here is part of the innovation and entrepreneurship cell. So that we have a Center for Innovation, Incubation, Entrepreneurship and Research, and by I'm beginning to see sort of a research culture in the university fostered by this cell and the faculty members in this department. Some of the products that were patented, this is, you know, for people, India is the diabetic capital of the world, so for diabetics, they carry an insulin vial with them. Insulin is an enzyme which can get denatured if the temperature fluctuation is more than 4 degrees. So it's meant to not, it can't tolerate a temperature fluctuation of more than 4 degrees, which means if I'm at 18 degrees right now and I stepped out at 40 degrees, the efficacy of the drug or the vaccine is lost. So it is not as effective. So this was a mobile insulin carrier. It's small, something like a mini refrigerator, which you can keep in your bag, and for those who need to get themselves insulin shots, they can. This is a bulky model, the first prototype. The later variants were much more sleeker and meant to be like your mobile phone, really, with thin little test tube-like containers to keep your syringe and your vial. Next one, so this was done by Prasad Joshi. This is yet another patented product from the healthcare department and the product design department. The idea was to create inhalers that did not have a stigma to it. Children are often embarrassed carrying an inhaler because it makes them feel like a weakling. So they really sort of gamified the whole thing and made them look like little toys. Next one. Student life, yeah, this is something I have to say, it's an absolutely unparalleled student life at Atlas. They have fun. You must follow, if, where is Imran? Imran will come and tell you, please follow Atlas Instagram page. You'll see exactly what happens on the student life day in and day out. So I think they have a great time. And thanks to the addition of the hostel never sleeps. So, Abhyuday, you look, where's Abhyuday? I just saw him some time back. He's staying on the hostel right now. You stayed in the hostel as well. So have I, actually. So this is, of course, by way of international immersions that we receive a fair number of students. Every day is a celebration, is it not? Yes, it is. And there are student clubs, festivals, co-curriculars. There are 2 festivals actually in the university right now, and we hope one day it will become one. So because we started like that, right? The design school started and they do a festival called Inferno. Inferno? Yeah, okay. So Inferno and Illenium is the business festival. Okay, and then student clubs, some of them are very active. There are about 18 very active student clubs. There's also a girls' football club that we have here. Asia's largest design fest. All right, there you go. Celebrations, never lose a moment to celebrate. They say there's never an excess of 3 things in any organization. Training, communication, and celebration. So find the first reason to celebrate, and I think that we really hold on very, I mean, last night was, to some effect, a measure of that. Never lose an opportunity to celebrate. Events, this fashion show that you see actually happened in the courtyard outside. So it was good fun. It was an outdoor show, and the theme was wild. So it was actually, the recorded sound of crickets and things like that, right? It's quite nice. Like, I think Poonam, if Poonam was here, she could talk about it. Okay, next one. Well, we are going to actually have our lunch in the hostel today. So we'll walk across the hostel and you will dine where the students dine. And so we get to see, and we'll also do a short hostel tour, okay? Because for those of you who, you often ask, where will my children stay, where will our students stay? So we'll give you a glimpse of that as well. Pretty much across the road, so it's right there as I can see and as you can see. We'll get past this. It's called the Flatiron Building, because it's probably, there's a building like that in the US, I'm told. And of course, we celebrate student success. I think that really brings me to the very last. That's a little bit of statistics about what our students do. As I said, majority of them sit for placements, followed by master's progression right after. A large number are involved in their own startups. The Vice Chancellor spoke about one of such students. And of course, we also have social innovators, projects like the BMC project that I showed you, or the Brihan Mumbai School, and several others. Of course, the time will not permit you to take you through various other projects, but there are several projects in the social innovation space. So that's really our student success, bringing me to the last slide. The joy of Atlas, and I hope you have a joyous day over here. Thank you for being so patient. What we will do now is we will do some work, all right? And the work that we will do, you've got the 3 slides of the workshops, okay, is the, you've all pre-signed for certain workshops, right? Okay, and I've got the list here. You also have what is referred to as the boarding pass, right? I was a little concerned about how would people know about what workshop they signed for. So we give you those boarding passes. So the first workshop is being conducted, if I may request Professor Omkar. Omkar, you were here. Okay, he was here a while back. Can you have all the workshop leaders come in, please? So, sorry? Yeah. So the first workshop, Shireen, Sanya, Sukriti, Mala, Bhavna, Varsha, Shweta, Sailesh, Priyanka, Amrita, Archana, Sharmishta, Harish, Ayushi. We will, Jaikishan, Farida, Maithili, Janvi, Suman, Deepak, Gail, Chandani, Prishma, and Saurabh Bhatt. We've signed up for our first workshop, which is the how startups will catapult India to being a 5 trillion economy. This will be led by Professor Omkar. Where are the, are you leading this to 701? So can I request all of them, all of you who've signed up for the names that I read out, to join Mitu, and she'll take you to room 701. We will do the first workshop. There's a coffee break after which, and then we'll do the second workshop thereafter, okay? So Omkar is right here. Sean, if you can just, also if you can have the other faculty join. So Omkar, can I request you to please join us right here so they can, all of you, allow me to introduce Professor Omkar. He leads the startup cell at Atlas Skilltech University, incubates ideas into business plans with students. And Omkar, Professor Omkar is going to lead your first workshop for which you've signed, which is the startups catapulting India to a 5 trillion economy. This is going to be held in room number 701, right across. So may I please request everyone who signed up for this workshop to step over. Or better still, maybe what I can do is if I can just introduce all the workshop leaders. It's my proud privilege to introduce to you Dr. Dakshina Murthy, who's traveled all the way from, where have you traveled this time from, sir? To Mumbai. He's here especially for conducting the workshop today. And some of you have signed up for the second workshop, or a parallel workshop, which is in how AI is transforming traditional industries and careers in India. Professor Murthy, if I may, with your permission, has also been part of ISRO and has also had, has worked on projects in DRDO and with the late President Abdul Kalam Azad. So, yes, we can clap. When you're happy, clap. All right, and this will be in room 702. Poonam, are you here? Okay, Poonam is not here. Okay, can you just call Poonam ma'am quickly? She's in the room across, and Poonam will lead the workshop on reinventing India's dynamic fashion tapestry through a Gen Z lens, and this will be done in room 703. If Poonam is going to take time, I can request, who is going with Omkar? Which of the volunteers? So Nilanjana, please come. Okay, 701, please rise. And Nilanjana, if you can just stand here so they can look at you and they can follow you. Abhijit, Abhyuday. See you again. Can I request internal team members? Seven, okay. You will get to attend again. You can do the second round, you can do the tech. Yeah?
My name was, I left my boarding pass in my bag.
Okay. Can you just check sir's name, which list it is? Yeah?
I'll start sending people out.
Yeah.
So 701, everybody is gone. 702, people who are going for 702, Dr. Murthy's workshop. Again, the room is on your left, on my left. Anupama, put your hand up. Yeah. 702 is the room on your right, this side. 703, fashion workshop. Fashion workshop, just 1 minute. Let 702. Yeah. Anuja, come up. 703. 703, fashion workshop. Yeah. You're following Anuja. Your room is right behind this room. Yeah. So you sit in a workshop right now. AI is 702. Okay, anybody who doesn't know which workshop they are attending? 701 is this one. And if you, 702, Dr. Murthy is in 702. And if you don't know which workshop you're attending, attend any workshop, they're all equally good. Don't attend more than one, but.
Which one?
703 is behind you.
Which one would you
AI 702.
Which is related to fashion? One is AI.
This one, behind us.
Fashion and AI. Yeah, 702. So which one?